we never found him. Never found his body. Never found him. So, and we searched a long time for him, but we managed to save the crew. We went out there, and one of the Coast Guard old tugs was out there, and I vectored the boat in to get them because the sea state was like crazy. Like the swells were like 12-foot swells. You couldn't hover. You couldn't driving rain. The wind was crazy.
Right.
Well, I
So
was able.
what did you say you did? You
I
sorry, before you said the
vectored.
sea
So
state. Yeah, what does
so we
that
saw
mean?
the the waves, the crest and the trough of the waves was like
Okay,
12
this
feet.
is crest and this is trough, right?
Trough is the bottom, right?
Okay.
Like a
Gotcha.
12 foot, like jumping off a 12-foot cliff or whatever. Top of the wave to the so that that's constantly going like and you're flying above it. It's fine, but like when you try to hover over it, you're trying to use that as like kind of when you're hovering over like something level, you can stay and keep a good distance from it. But when it's going like this whole time, you got to be careful because you have to have enough power and all that. Just so you stay above it, so the wave kind of goes up and down above underneath you, and you kind of just hover right there. Right.
So the boat was coming up and down at 12
Oh
feet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the boat's riding the wave,
Okay.
so we
60
couldn't.
person boat too? Like
It was yeah. It was I think it was Penobscot Bay was the name of the boat, and I think they had a crew of maybe 40, 50 people. It's like an ocean going tug is what it was, Coast Guard Ocean. And they were out there trying to effect the rescue. Like so I vectored the boat into them because they couldn't see. Just think about it. You're in the water, you're seeing like a wave of water in front of you. Then you go up, you see the kind of the sky, and then you go down. It's hard for you to see if something's floating in the water that's
right.
that's going up and down like that. So
Jesus.
the crew were together. So I vectored the boat in,
Vectoring
steering
meaning like
command.
you're guiding it like this
Right,
way,
right.
this
Telling
way.
him come left, come right, turn the hell,
So the
and
boat
then
does have capacity to still maneuver despite
yes, yes. It's just
more
it's
or
just
less. That
slower,
is
right? But
not yeah.
they're right. They're under propulsion, so they got in. So then they time it so when the people are in the upper swell and the boat's down the trough, and they go in and they try to grab them as they come on board the boat. And the winds blew out all the. I mean, the water and the winds were so bad, it blew out all the windows in the boat, the bridge boat. Just windows got blown out like they did at the storm in when you were in
Yeah.
Houston.
So when you're coming in, you're seeing this boat. Are you I know you're driving, maneuvering, flying the copter. Do you have to report what you're seeing while you're flying? Like is it like what's that
Yeah, you
audio for
can.
you like
Yeah,
is it like
yeah.
okay, I see a boat? Like what was the
So I have comms, right? So I have comms with like air station control, different radios you could switch, and you could
all
talk to
right.
different people, and certain channels. Everyone's on certain channels, like FM channels. So there's certain working channels on the FM band that Coast Guard had, and we also had. So I have like four radios on any time in my headset, different radios. So I'm talking to people. And you just switch the mic, who you talk to, left, right, whatever. So I would tell the boat on the FM frequency, Coast Guard Helo flying above you, boom, boom. I have contact there, like off your port bow, come left 20 degrees. So the helmsman will then turn the boat and come left 20 degrees to come steer them into where the people are so they could see them. Hopefully, lookouts could see them. And then they said, I would constantly give them the directions like, okay, they're drifting a little bit further, to the east, come left further, another 10 degrees. Okay, that's too much. Come back right, and then vector them right in. So they were able, the boat is what able to pick those. Like there was three, the two pilots and the air crewmen were able to be picked up, and then we continued searching for the PJ that was down. Looking for debris in the water, and because he supposedly had his own like little personal like little life vest with him and everything. But what we think can happen is that when he jumped out of the when he departed out of the helo, he like I said, it was like a 12-foot drop. So if he could have jumped out at the crest, the top of the wave, it'd have probably been like a 3 feet 2-foot drop. But they think that when he jumped, the swell went down underneath him, so he probably broke his back. Something to think of because that's the kind of guy who will be able to survive that type of environment. They train for that, so we're thinking that something must have happened. He jumped out and it was too far of a drop. Probably broke his back or got knocked unconscious
And he
when
was
he hit the
jumping
water.
onto the water, like
He
out
jumped, yeah,
off of
from
the
the
boat.
helo to the water. Because see, they normally, you come into a hover and you deploy your swimmer. You can hoist them down, or they can like free fall down.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the max, I think, was like most you wanted to drop a swimmer with his fit like I think it was like 7 feet, 5 to 7 feet. I don't know. It's a little cloudy now. Now gray matter's getting a little fuzzy. It's been a while, but
Uh,
anything above that was danger of them injuring on the entry to the water at that height.
and
So
so
I hit
when the
the
PJ descended into water, their plan was to
so
save.
right. So normally what they said is probably in their mind his mindset was that I'm going to enter the water the way I know comfortably know how to get in the water, deploy my raft, get everything ready, and then when you guys ditch, I'll come over and make sure I get you guys out of the helicopter. Because when a helicopter ditches, a lot of times it rolls over.
Rolls over, meaning.
So if it lands like right side up,
Uh-huh.
it's going to flip upside down every time. It's going to flip.
What? That
Yeah.
I gotta get some tutorial. I need to
No,
get
but
a
it's
little rescue
so
101 because I'm trying to visually like what I want to know what you were seeing as you flew into the situation. You were like, okay, this swimmer is gonna deploy. So I gotta fly like a little bit above this area, and then like you. Meanwhile, you're seeing this boat coming up and down while you have 3 people, 4 people talking to
yeah,
you about the situation. As you are also communicating to the person in the boat, like, hey, I need you to turn bow this way
right, yeah.
because I know you
Mhm.
can't see it, but at least the thing that you're trying to do, which is save, or what this boat was trying to do was fuel an transporter, like an
No,
air carrier
so no,
transporter.
so what happened? No, that's a couple segments. So
Okay, break it down. Perfect
Air
storm.
National
Let's go.
Air National Guard was out doing an offshore patrol, doing their patrols, whatever, and they have a crew, a helicopter like we do, but they had a helicopter 60 that has a in-flight refueling probe that comes out. It's like a long needle that at the front of the aircraft. So they'll fly behind a KC-135 tanker that has like this big chute that comes out, and then they connect. And once they make a connection, while they're both flying in formation, they can refuel the helicopter. So evidently, this helicopter was off and could not refuel. They tried 2 times to refuel, could not make the connection for whatever reason, the wind or whatever. They could not refuel. So they're trying to make it back to the beach as close as they can to shore. But they know they were going to run out of fuel, run out of fumes, and they're going to have to ditch the helicopter into the water. They knew that. So in that process, they're calling, they're communicating. We're trying to coordinate assets to so it's a minimum time that they're in the water. We can have an asset there to pick them up. So the boat's coming. We're kind of coming. Can't come right away because of winds, and we get out there. We're finally get out there when the storm is finally passing enough where we could fly. And when we came upon them, we're looking for them. We spotted them, but we could not come down into a hover. We had too much winds, too much weather, too whatever. So we stayed above, saw the group together. They had already ditched the helicopter, and they were all in there like little floats and rafts and stuff like that, all together. The 3 crewmen. So I vectored the boat into them to pull them out of the water. That's the only way they were going to get it. We tried to make an attempt to do it, but we almost overtorqued our helicopter trying to do that.
Right. When you made that attempt, what did it feel like in the helicopter? Was it
You
some
just
like an experience that you were like, I can't even my like was your helicopter kind of flipping over? Was it an inverse thing or just like the G
no,
force?
no, the G force. No, you're just flying your mission. I mean, it's windy, it's buffy. You're just trying to go through your procedures. You do so many training that it comes like second nature. You're just dealing with the situation as it unfolds.
Okay,
But
well I didn't know Mother Nature got second nature, but that's what's up.
but yeah.
But yeah, so
So
you
they
were just
so they
following
got out of the
protocols.
water.
You were like, nope, the levels are too
Yeah,
much. It wasn't like I can do it. Like no.
yeah, yeah. We could you try. You give it a try, but sometimes your equipment you can't do things. Your equipment is sometimes you push the equipment to the edge and
Yeah.
hopefully you have a little spare, and then if it doesn't
Oof.
work, it doesn't work. But at least we were able to spot him, find him, and then vector the boat in to save them. So
How do you
yeah.
debrief after that? Like once everything is done, how does your heart come back down?
Oh yeah, it takes a while. It takes a
Like
while.
you could take some time
Adrenaline,
off. Take a little
adrenaline.
mental day. Wow.
Oh no,
That
it's
that'll crest and trowels.
trout
And
and the
and
crest.
I know I can
Trough,
look this up.
trough.
Trough. My bad. My bad. What? And then this storm was. Where was this? What? Where was it?
Just off New York, off Long Island.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Would you
perfect
say
storm.
that out of the places, the perfect storm? That's really great because we got the movie that it's
Yeah, the
based
movie.
out of.
So the movie is based a little bit on that scenario, but it was dealing with a fishing boat. And there was a couple boats that were lost in that.
Right. What out of the places that you live, where would be the uh incidences of storms or crashes between like Great Lakes, New England, Connecticut?
So
Like
I
where would
know
be a
Alaska.
hotbed?
Those
Oh,
guys
it's
in
always
Alaska work.
Alaska.
They work their behinds off out there. I never was out there. In fact, Alaska is so demanding as a brand new, first year when you get your wings and all, you can't go to Alaska right away. You got to go to a unit first, and then only second
Wow.
tour, only second tour aviators go to Alaska because it's just so demanding. Um, the weather, everything. I mean, you want your most experienced guys dealing with that, guys and girls dealing with that.
Right,
But
right, right.
for me, I think for me the most challenging for me, like you really had to like be on your p's and q's was when I was flying the Great Lakes because you're dealing with a lot more ice and like our aircraft couldn't fly in ice. Like it would ice up. Like we had no
Ooh,
de-icing capability.
right.
Like some planes can they put the heating strips in so that the ice doesn't form in the aircraft, but we didn't have that. So that was more challenging because you had to really watch what the weather was doing, how quickly it would change with the Great Lakes, lake effect snow and all that stuff. I mean, visible moisture. You couldn't fly in that when the temperature was really cold. And a lot of times it's funny. Um, you could fly. It's sometimes it's too cold for it to be ice on you. So it was better to fly higher. You would think to fly lower because the temperature is a temperature gradient. So sometimes it would inverse. So you had to really be cognizant of that. And plus, too, the ice fishermen, man, I saved more people ice fishing than I did. No, I mean, hundreds of people I'm pulling off the ice floes. Like, it's crazy.
Just recreational ice
Recreational
fishermen.
ice fishermen out there with their trucks and their ATVs and they're out there fishing, enjoying the day, and all of a sudden the wind shift and the ice would break away from the shore and then start going out to the lake.
Woo. Okay, but they would be floating on the ice, but it'd be like,
Yeah, right. But then they try to figure out, it's time to go in, and then they go, oh, I can't get back. And then as the ice gets out there more, it starts tumbling and breaking up. Now you're on the floe and it's like breaking up. We got to get them off. Yeah.
that's so
And
that Great Lakes was the most incidents, right? It's just be like, dang, I got.
yeah,
It would kind of
for
be
me
like
as a
its own
pilot, planning was
NCIS,
challenging. Yeah, it was challenging. Plus, it's cold and weather.
right?
You
And
could had to,
cold.
we I used to land. I used to land the helicopter on the ice real light, and then sometimes it would start to slip. Then you got to pick it up. You didn't want it to slip real quick because you get what's called dynamic rollover, where you have one part of the helicopter in contact with the ground or the ice. It flips over a lot easier. Like it's like you go and you catch an edge or something, you go flip right over. So you had to be
Yeah.
careful of that. I remember you get out and like I go sit down and start to sit down, and that's the weirdest feeling was the first time I sat the helicopter down the ice. Like intuitively, you're like, nah, I think I should just hover here, but you burn up too much, energy, too much fuel and everything like that, and you're like,
You,
But the first time I sat out on the ice was the weirdest thing. Like I kept because you can hear ice moving, like cracking, like you hear. But sometimes that was really good. That means the ice was freezing even more underneath. It would make it sound like it's cracking open, but actually it was freezing harder underneath, which was better. But yeah,
I just
it's
can't even
dynamic.
imagine that audio experience that you personally,
Uh,
have while you are on a mission, or even just a normal day in icy weather. Like to
yeah.
land it, and you're just hearing that, and
Or
you're like,
sometimes you'll get out and then ice, and they go, no, no, not here. You break it through, pick up, slide over. Okay, and then, the flight Mac will get out and he look around and goes, okay, everything's good. And we had these things called ice chocks, would look like little screen things. We would sit the tires and then I'd sit it on there and it'd be like ice chock, so you wouldn't. make it a little
Wow.
more stable.